to Renegade Conversations. My guest today is trying to flip the landscaping world upside down into ecological landscaping and restoration. How awesome is that? My name is Meryl Cook. I'm an artist, a renegade, and host and creator of Renegade Conversations. My mission is to provide thought-provoking, fearless, and fun discussions with remarkable female rebels who are shaking things up in their respective fields. My hope is to make you question the norms and ignite your own renegade spirit. This episode of Renegade Conversations is sponsored by Creating Space, my free weekly writing, sketching, and creativity program. If you'd like to make time for self-care and would like some support in using journaling and sketching for things like opening up creativity, consider signing up for Creating Space. Each week, I will send you a writing or sketching prompt, and you can share your response to the prompt with me directly. If you need more and would like some individual time with me, there are options to book a one-on-one consultation with me. My next guest is Rosmarie Lohnes, and I will read to you from her bio. Rosmarie Lohnes is an ecological landscape designer, speaker, consultant, and educator. Rosmarie is one of North America's leading experts in protecting priceless coastal properties from erosion. She's the founder and CEO of Helping Nature Heal, an award-winning landscape design company that has been recognized globally for its work in preventing shoreline erosion and preserving coastal ecosystems. Rosmarie pioneered the Shoreline Erosion Management system, which has helped dozens of homeowners protect their properties from coastal erosion. Rosmarie's work has been featured by media outlets across North America. Rosmarie has a BA in Conservation and Environmental Studies from York University, with prior studies in architectural design and further training in horticulture as therapy, ecological landscape design, shoreline erosion, master gardener, and landscape management. As a much sought-after speaker, Rosmarie has addressed the International Restoring American Estuaries Conference in Washington, D.C. on the topic of living shorelines. She's also done walrus talks in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and has been honored to speak at many other conferences and events throughout North America. My next guest is Rosmarie Lohnes, owner of Helping Nature Heal. Welcome, Rosmarie. Rosmarie, you and I met, how many years ago was that? At a women's conference organized by Eleanor Beaton, right? I think we were in Ontario for that conference, I believe. And I had just written my first One Loop at a Time book. And you were just starting to bring your business, Helping Nature Heal, to the next level. So I'm so excited to reconnect with you. I'm sure it's been at least 6 years, but I can't quite recall the exact year that was. So thank you so much for agreeing to hop on Zoom to have this conversation with me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for the invitation. I've been watching you grow, of course, since those early days. I think it was 2016 or 2017, maybe. It's quite some time ago, and just fascinated by the things that you're doing and how you've taken your passion and created this whole endeavor. It's really beautiful to see and watch. And of course, your beautiful artwork is there behind you. So I'm a great fan. So thanks so much.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much. So Rosmarie, what does being a renegade mean to you?
I was thinking about this last night as I was getting ready in before my dream time, and I was thinking, what is that about me? And it feels like it's like a string pulling me into the universe. It's like standing up for what I believe in, what I know to be true, at least for me, and not being afraid to speak it and to live in it, on a daily basis.
Nice. Yes. Oh, that's lovely. So really, not being afraid and standing up and speaking your truth, what the truth is for you. Yeah. Lovely. So one question I have for you is, what impact has being a renegade had on your life and your career? So for example, what kinds of opportunities and maybe what kind of challenges has it presented?
Well, I think filled with both for sure, which is delightful, but also challenging. I think that it has sort of set me apart from others who follow the status quo, who just want to get on with their day and not cause any ripples or any grief in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm often looking for those challenges and looking for ways that I can be impactful and helpful. So I'm really seeking it out, and it's I think that's, there's a lot of people maybe our age that are kind of in the later years of their careers, and they just are counting down the days to retirement and just want to keep everything safe. And to me, it's about more than that, like stepping out and being fully engaged at all times with my life, with my business, with my career choices, and not worrying too much about how anybody else sees it or understands it or not.
And you had mentioned before that you were really trying to flip the landscaping world upside down. So how has that been for you? Because that's kind of a renegade thing to do, right? And maybe say a little bit about your work and why it's such a renegade. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that it's so I live in the traditional landscaping world. That's the industry that I've been tagged with. When you start a business, they ask you, which industry are you in? And you get a code that matches, other industries are the same. And it really didn't sit well with me, the domination of nature, the chemicals, the pesticides, all of those kind of traditional landscaping thoughts and reasons for doing and being just didn't suit me and my awareness of how the natural world really provides for us, right? We can't live without oxygen. So it's the plants that make that oxygen. So for me, the plants are the most important thing. I want to keep breathing. I want to be able to do sports or whatever my goals are with a healthy body and mind and spirit. And so when I kind of looked around at what was happening in the industry, it was very challenging to see myself in that world. And I immediately thought, I'm going to have to do this completely differently than other traditional businesses. So we've flipped the paradigm upside down, which means that instead of domination over nature, we are really working at the conversation and relationship with nature, the stewardship of it, the kinship between us and the world outside. This realization of we're all on this planet together. We're probably all sharing similar DNA, similar microbes, bits and pieces of stardust and everything that we've been made of, right? And so how can I chemical spray something and kill something else when that very thing is the thing that I need in order to survive as a human here on this planet? So flipping that paradigm means that we took the word landscaping out of our business title. We now belong to ecological restoration organizations. We're kin with all of the stuff out there, the protozoa, the dirt, the soil, the rocks, the trees. We really do believe and act as though they are our relatives. So, if you're thinking about how you might treat a grandparent or a child, would be with very careful hands, with soft voices and understanding, and a lot more listening to the responses, a lot more paying attention to the nuances and the subtleties, and learning from those very things, so that when we do our work to restore and repair the natural ecosystem, it really is coming from the soul, from the heart, from the information that we've gathered by being attentive and patient and contemplative with these experiences outside of our, house and our structures and things. And so this paradigm keeps kind of shifting, and I feel like we're sort of guiding the new vernacular, this new language through the plant world so that people have an opportunity to look at it a different way, to understand it, to make it their own, to deal with challenge and opportunity in a really joyful, hopeful way rather than an upset sort of space.
Yeah.
So it is completely opposite in a way to traditional landscaping. And I hear myself saying to clients, oh, this is a really good example of how we're completely different, than that other thing. And I think people get it when we talk about our real truthful needs of oxygen, of clean food, of clean air, space to play and roam and be wild and, be wondering and all of that. And they get this, the lawn, the traditional tree, the couple of shrubs, it doesn't suit that urgency of connection. And I find that really stimulating and very interesting to see in how many different ways can we link these people's lives intrinsically to this earth that is supporting their requirements.
Oh, very cool. One of the things that I know that you do that really interests me because of our Nova Scotia coastline is you do a very unique type of coastal reconstruction. So what we see sometimes is we see those big blocks being put on people's edges of the property to prevent erosion. And what ends up happening is that you just are passing the problem on down to your neighbor because then their property erodes. So tell us a little bit about the shoreline restoration that you do. It's so unique and so interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I find it really very, very interesting and invigorating. It's we call it the living shoreline. It is a soft engineering methodology. It can be mixed with traditional methods like rock walls and armoring and things like that. But it's really about looking at the plants from multiple aspects. So firstly, we're looking at root systems and understanding how the roots grow, how they, what structure they take, what form they take, how aggressive or slow they might grow in different soils, in different environmental contexts. So there's a matrix there of understanding. But then also the above ground parts of the plants have a really big role in how they push the energy back out into the world. So when the rain falls, these limbs are bouncing and moving, and they're actually using up some of the energy so that those raindrops are not drilling into the soils. When the waves come in and smash up against structures and things, that energy is transferred to the earth or to the plants that live there. And if we don't have a good plant community, then that knitting together of the soil horizon isn't happening. That's when we lose a lot of soils in erosion. So our work is really sort of paying attention to the natural spaces and how Mother Nature is doing her work, and then mimicking those into our strategies so that we can buy some more time for these folks who are living on the shore, so they can really dig in and understand what's actually happening when we say climate change and the crisis that we're in. A lot of people are sort of still not understanding completely the science behind the climate. And so all of our work is about educating the clientele and then putting these mimicked systems back into place so that they can reinvigorate those shorelines and hold them together for a much longer period of time. And so it's very sort of experiential, it's very soulful. Oftentimes we have clients working with us, at least participating somewhat, or communities when we work at the greater scale of the community. And it really does allow for people to kind of see themselves inside the nature as part of it. So it changes that, domination to stewardship. It's really quite healthy and helpful for them to see that if we just do it, plant these trees or plant these shrubs or these ground covers, the next wave that comes is not doing the destruction that it did before. So that too is kind of taking the traditional model of shoreline protection and flipping it upside down as well,
Yeah.
because we're really
Well,
looking at the roots and the ground, right?
and so that's a bit of a renegade idea, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's been a long time coming, but how has that been for you to be trying to educate people, to be adopting this type of working, which you know is what the earth needs and what people need ultimately? What's that been like for you? What's that experience been like?
That has been challenging for sure.
Mhm.
On many fronts. I think, firstly, I'm a female in a non-traditional role, running
Mhm.
my own landscaping firm. There's
Yeah.
definitely females out there doing similar work or doing landscaping work for sure, gardening and things like that.
Yeah.
But being able to kind of dive deeper into the science and the research of it, and then being able to kind of stand in front of and with alongside some engineers who maybe think that that's never going to happen or that's not going to work well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have the science and research behind us.
Uh-huh.
The living shoreline is not brand new. It's been in the US since the 80s. It's been in various aspects of Europe since the
Mhm.
60s. Things are changing. And as they change, we have more place and more space for women to take on these non-traditional
Yeah.
roles and then to run with it. So I think, similar to any other woman in business, we have these uh, we have ceilings that other people have imposed on top of us
Yeah.
that I don't see them, but I know
Uh-huh.
they're there. And I
Yeah.
know that, some people are trying to keep us down and we're trying to bust through some of that. So some of the challenges have been, being harassed on job sites, having people not believe what I'm talking about, having to bring along the research and the science documents with me, like
Uh-huh.
literally showing
Yes.
them, see
Yes.
this research right here.
Yeah.
So there's an extra layer of proof and of, I don't know, maybe ingenuity or something where you have to always have your backup plan and you always
Yeah.
have to have your strength ready for display and
Yes. Yes. You
yeah.
can't just rest on your laurels. So it's presented some challenges, but also I would think that with climate change, it's also presenting some unique opportunities because I think more and more people are becoming aware that some of the traditional methods are not working and that our shorelines are disappearing, and therefore you're in a really good position. So yeah, lovely.
Yeah, I think people are looking for options. They want to make more choices for themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people who, maybe have a rock wall will call me and say, I just don't like the way it looks. It's too industrial. I
Mhm.
want this to be softer, to be more luscious and more
Mhm.
habitat forward
Yeah.
focused. So definitely there's tons of opportunity. I think there's so much work to be done that there's room for a lot more people in this
Yeah.
sector of the
Yes.
industry,
Yeah.
and always trying to encourage other businesses to jump on board and have a gander at this, because it has certainly driven a lot of revenue for my company
Mhm.
and that of others that we work
Yeah.
alongside, nurseries and machinery and engineering and
Mhm.
whatnot. But
Of course.
I think there's an opportunity there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anyone who is entrepreneurial in any way, that's what they're looking for, is where
Mhm.
is an opportunity, where's a missing gap, where's a
Yeah.
niche, and then doubling down in that and
Yeah.
doing the best work you can.
And you've done a great job of that. Tell me, Rosemary, have you always been a renegade? I know that you're a renegade now, but have you always been a renegade?
Yeah, I think so. I was the kid who, had the lemonade stand and, wanted my own control over my own money and my own say and what I could do with it.
Uh-huh.
I remember stealing my dad's tools and hiding them and then making him buy them back for me so that I could earn cash to go and do whatever.
Uh,
I think I've been the black sheep. I've been the one who tries something first and goes for it or jumps in with both feet. And
uh-huh.
I think it's just kind of bred into you in some ways. I think maybe it's a learned skill, but I certainly get it honestly and have been practicing it since I was a little child, for sure.
Oh, that's fun. So tell me, in grade 2, what kind of a kid were you?
I talked too much. I had the wiggles in my seat. I could never sit through very much.
Uh-huh,
Lots of
uh-huh.
my report cards say Rosemary would be great if she could just focus on one thing at a time, instead of
Yes,
doing 10 or 20 things at once.
yeah.
Always busy, always have my hands in a lot of things and a lot of projects on the go. And I don't think I've changed much since
No, and
then.
it sounds like your business suits your personality extremely well, right? Yeah,
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 yeah.
that's
I think I
great.
was really fortunate to be able to kind of stand in a moment of time and say, what am I going to do next? And to be
Mhm,
able to create a business that not only serves my needs, but those of my teammates and my staff
mhm.
and the environment and our local community, has been a real blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful story. So here's a funny question, and it's a question that I often ask when I teach workshops. It's a way of getting people to think outside the box or to open up their creativity. And the question is there a line or a shape that would define you? And if so, what would that look like?
Hmm.
And take a
You
moment to
know,
think about it.
Yeah, I think it's really like very similar to one of the painting or the works in behind you, this sort of like wavy up and down, there's a peak and then there's a valley, and then there's another peak and another valley,
Yeah.
kind of like a wave, but sort of squiggly, um, pointed in a direction, but taking the long way there, maybe.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Nice, nice. And can you say any more about that line? So it's wavy, it's
Um,
peaks and valleys, it's in a direction. Yeah.
yeah, I think it has like some free flowing, some fluidity to it, maybe like a river or a stream.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I see myself kind of interested and then flowing through a context or a time frame and not being afraid to sort of change direction slightly and
Yeah,
pivot and
yeah.
being really sort of amenable to what is the energy, what is the time, is it time for rest or is it time for hard work? And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of like envisioning this sort of wiggly worm kind of going through time.
Uh-huh. That's lovely. That's lovely. Thanks very, very much. So, Rosemary, what advice do you have for other women who maybe want to become a little bit more of their inner wild self or their renegade self? How would they get started? What would you suggest?
Good question. I'm thinking it's like gather your thoughts, and see what is it that you've always wanted to do or be or
Mm,
act like, or like really take some time for that inner work,
mhm.
figuring those things out, shed some fear and shame and blame and all that stuff that we
Yeah,
carry around,
yeah.
and then just go for it. Like I've had family members say, really, is this what you're doing for the rest of your life? Like, honest to
Yeah,
God. And I'm like, yeah, I'm having the best time, like
yeah.
from their perspective, it's hard work and toil and challenge, but they don't
Uh-huh.
see all the rewards that you reap when you do that kind of stuff. And for me, there is just really no other choice. So
Uh-huh.
when I when I started the company, I really was in a sort of a flight or strife kind of moment. I needed that no one else is going to save me. No one else is going to build this thing that I
Mhm.
want, this
Mhm.
dream that I have.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to rely on myself, and I'm going to have to, work for every tangible second that I
Mhm.
can put this together. And I
Mhm.
think I just really had to kind of hit that moment where you could always rely on someone else to help you
Mhm.
through. But
Mhm.
there is a moment in time where, you feel like, yep, this is it. Like I'm either going to have to jump
Uh-huh.
and believe that I can do it,
Yeah.
or I'm going to not,
Yeah.
and not doing that just seemed like the worst idea ever. And
Uh-huh.
so there really was no other option. It just felt
Mm.
like that forward direction was the way I was going to go.
Yeah.
And I never had regret or like inner criticism about am I doing the right thing?
Uh-huh.
I just always knew that I was headed in some direction over here, and
Mhm.
whatever the
Mhm.
work was, I'm going to have
Yeah.
to do it. And
Mm.
I really sought out help and did some therapy and got a business mentor and some
Yeah.
coaching
Yeah.
and really just jumped in and
Uh-huh.
went for it and didn't really have a plan B or a looking back. It's
Mhm.
just, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my days. Go
That's
and do it.
wonderful. I think that, the having to have a plan B always can really hold us back, right? It's kind of what I've written about in my books about not needing to figure out the whole thing in order to get started, right? You just need to take a step. And I
Yeah.
love what you had to say about, do your inner work, think
Mhm.
about what is it that you really are passionate about, or what do you really want to do, or what speaks to you. And for me, it's like, what brings me joy and what feels easy. Like,
Mm.
not that the work that either of us do is easy, but what kind of flows, what kind of feels like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, even if we've had a really full day, we feel excited as opposed to feeling dread to get up on Sunday and think about Monday the next day, or that kind of thing. So it's find your passion, really, isn't it? And then just do it, right?
Yeah.
And realize that you can get started and you don't have to have it all figured out.
That's right. Like I wake up early before the alarm most days,
Mhm.
and I'm excited about what I get to do today.
Yeah.
It's not a chore and it's not a dredge, and I'm
Uh-huh.
not, worried or cranky over it. It's
Yes.
exciting. And
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to get out of bed and get going. And that kind of propels you through, all of a sudden it's been 23 years that we've had this business, and it's like,
It's
feels like
amazing.
yesterday,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it doesn't feel long at all. And
No. And not
because
every
it's
year was
joyful.
easy, right? Not every year was easy in your business, right?
Oh,
But
not at all.
overall, now when you sit back, you think, yeah, it was worth it. Yeah.
It definitely, definitely, like I see other people my age in, challenging careers. I see, people that were in high school with me or in college or university, and I think, man, they really took the hard way to get to where they wanted to be, and like you talk to them and they're, it's Monday again and we got to get back to
Mhm.
work. And I think, man, Monday's my best day,
Wow.
like what
Yeah. Yeah.
happened? And so you wonder where people lose it, the thrill of living and getting out there into
Mhm.
whatever their career is. Like, yeah, I wonder where it went wrong for them, if they even
Yeah.
know that it's
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
I used to find the same when I was a homeopath. I'd have patients who uh, were just waiting to retire because they were so sick of their jobs. And my concern was, are they going to be well enough to enjoy their retirement by the time they get there because they're so sick of it? So it's really about, finding your passion, and you don't have to change jobs, but you have to find something that gives you a reason to get up in the morning, and whatever that is, you have to do more of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Most
Awesome.
definitely.
So Rosemary, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. And I was thinking, how do you manifest when you have an idea that's coming up? Do you journal or do you paint it out? Like, how do you I'm typically pretty good at manifesting things, but
Uh,
my method sometimes takes years for things to come along. So I'm just wondering, what are your
yeah.
manifesting tools or tasks,
So my
techniques,
main
I
tool
guess?
is my journal. So my main
Yeah.
tool would be my journal. And
Okay.
when I first started journaling, I was writing, what I needed to help myself to heal a little bit more. What was my next step? And then I started journaling more about possibilities for my life. And I've gone through different phases where I might journal about, they're called what ifs, and I do quite a few of those. Most weeks I do 3 or 4 a week, and it's, what if something marvelous could happen, and how does that feel, and what does that look like, and I'll sketch it, and sometimes I'll make a rug of that. And then more recently, I've been writing letters to the universe. So I
Uh,
started writing letters to myself, and then I was writing letters to my kids at times. But lately, I've been writing letters to the universe. So a couple of weeks ago, I guess about a month ago, I wrote a letter to the universe and said, dear universe, please send invitations. I don't really care where they come from. And then I went on holiday for a week with my sister. So I basically left it with the universe. And I came back to 3 invitations to teach. So it was just like, so my I think what I wrote the other day was, dear universe, please send me opportunities so that I can buy the stock I need for these pop-ups that I want to do. So, so I just kind of put it out there, and then I just try to leave it and not worry about it and just say, well, it'll come when it's meant to come. And yeah, so
Nice.
that's how I've been manifesting lately. And I'm a firm believer, as I know you are, in that we attract the energy that we put out. So
Yeah.
I try
Yeah.
not to spend too much time worrying about the economy or the world wars. I know that that's happening. I'm sending out hope and I'm sending out love, and I'm being informed, but I'm not immersing myself in those negative things, because I know that for me anyway, it doesn't work. It's just soul destroying for me. And
Yeah.
so I really try to spend more time in the area of feeling positive, in the area of sending out love, not being annoyed with people, and just sending out love and saying, well, I don't know why they're doing that, but they obviously need something, and I'm going to send them love, and that kind of thing. So it's sometimes
That's
easier said than done, but that is my process. Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks. And that's the first time someone's asked me that. That's great.
good.
So,
Good.
is there anything else you'd like to add about being a renegade that we should add today?
I think there's room for more.
Yeah. Yes.
I think some people are, and maybe they don't even know it, and they're just kind of bubbling along, doing their own business and doing their
Yeah.
own thing, whether they're in a career and have a boss or whatnot. But I think there's people out there who just need maybe the recognition that that's what they are, so that they can feel that vibe of, being that way. To me,
Yeah.
it's like acting on things and being purposeful and all of that. But I think there's folks that are quiet renegades that are
Yes.
going about their business, making
Yeah.
change in their own special way. And not that everyone has to be like a big cheerleader or a big
Yeah.
advocate like I am.
Yeah.
There's the quietness to it as well. And so there's
Yeah.
room for lots of us in this
Yeah.
demographic, and we
There
need
are.
more.
And the more we have our renegade sisterhood, which is wonderful. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks so much. So thanks very much, Rosemarie, for taking the time to have this conversation with me. It's been really nice to reconnect with you and to hear about your business and how it's doing. So I'm pretty excited that we had this conversation.
Oh, me as well. Thanks so much for having the opportunity, really. I mean, if you weren't doing this podcast, then the opportunities would be, very few for a whole bunch of us. So I'm so glad that you're taking it on and making it happen. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks. And I seem to recall you got an award recently, and we didn't mention that. So what was your award you got?
So Eco Canada gave me the Top Employer Award for all of Canada for the environmental work that we're doing, and that we're trying to kind of train the next generation of
Uh-huh.
environmentalists along the way. So that was
That's
really lovely.
wonderful.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
that's a
Thanks
huge
for that.
compliment. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so
Thanks so
much. Yeah,
much.
that's great. Thank you for having me today, and I hope we get to see each other again.
Yeah, me
It'd be
too.
great.
Thanks. I hope this episode has left you feeling inspired and ready to channel your own renegade spirit. If you need a little help getting started, please reach out to me. This episode of Renegade Conversations is sponsored by Creating Space, my free weekly writing, sketching, and creativity program. If you'd like to make time for self-care and would like some support in using journaling and sketching for opening up creativity, consider signing up for Creating Space. Each week, I will send you a writing, sketching prompt, and you can share your response to the prompt with me directly. If you need more and would like some individual time with me, there are options to book a one-to-one consultation with me. So be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Renegade Conversations. And they're also available wherever you get your podcasts as an audio version. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.